Long ball number 2, Americans abroad. Headline of this one for me: Tyler Adams yesterday played 90 minutes in Bournemouth's win against Spurs, overtaking Spurs at the table. That's back-to-back 90 minutes for the American captain. That's exciting. Do you think that, do you trust him to be a continued starter?
Wow. For Bournemouth or for the U.S. men's national team eventually?
I think we know the latter answer. The former is more what I'm asking.
Yeah, look, he's held up and he looks good, and he was very important to shutting down James Maddison in that victory for Bournemouth. I think we can move the meter up to cautiously optimistic that Tyler Adams is sort of back. Now, I don't have any history to lean into with what that actually means. I mean, what's the longest run? Maybe this is a little bit of recency bias, right? Because he had been gone again and is only just back. But I can't remember where Tyler Adams has been consistently starting for months and months and months, and then felt like, oh, yeah, this is great. Tyler Adams, very good player, getting it done in the Premier League. Obviously, a couple different clubs now. I guess that's where I'm at with this. I don't have his numbers in front of me, Rob, to say, well, what's the biggest number of appearances Tyler Adams has ever had, the highest number of appearances he's ever had in his career after moving to Europe. He's played 6 matches so far, 345 minutes this season. Obviously, the back-to-back starts that you just mentioned. Oh, and by the way, I should throw this out there. 99th percentile for tackles and interceptions compared to his peers across the Big 5 leagues of Europe. So he's obviously very, very good at what he does and what he is paid to do. But until he gets that run of 6, 7, 8, 10 games, it's still a little dicey. It's cautiously optimistic. It's like a 3 on a 10 on a 1 to 10 scale for me, or maybe a 4.
Your confidence level is a 3 out of 10.
Yeah, it's ticking towards mid-level. I think is that where you're at, or what? You got something different?
I want it to be higher, but I'm in that 2 to 3 range with you. Like, he gets rested at the weekend because he played on Thursday, and then who knows what happens in training next week. Lots of there's been, I feel like almost every other day is like Tyler Adams gets a pull or a hurt back or something like that. It's been tough since 2023. He appeared for Leeds 28 times, and then just 4 times last year and 6 times thus far. Other Americans abroad, 2 of the big hitters for the American national team play this afternoon. If you didn't realize that. Let's start in Holland. 2 o'clock. Pepi, PSV versus FC 20.
Where is 20 in the table? 20 is 5th place at the moment. 10 points or 11 points back, rather, of PSV Eindhoven, who leads the way. 6 points up on Ajax is PSV. So, again, going after an Eredivisie title, I would guess, based on that matchup, that I don't know. Is Luke de Jong carrying any injuries at the moment? Do we have any reason to think that he won't be in the lineup for Peter Bosz? I mean, yes, Pepe's been in good form, and he got a start, what was it, 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, and had the hat trick or whatever that was. I mean, obviously, he's had some good moments, but de Jong remains the captain. He remains their chief striker. I guess I want to see if Pepe starts today. I'm looking at FotMob. They actually have a predicted lineup with Pepi in it, which would be great, especially against that like a better level of opposition in the Eredivisie than what he has kind of been beating up on. Obviously, he had the Champions League. I'm not trying to take that away from him, but that's off the bench, right? Again, that is coming in as a substitute and doing that thing that he is so astute at, which is scoring goals as a sub. I hope there's something here. Another goal or 2 against 20 would be nice.
It sure would be. In other Friday action, Christian Pulisic and his Milan men take on Atalanta this afternoon.
Yeah, we know Atalanta can score, right? When Gasperini is, I'm sorry, not Gasperini, Tullio Gritti, I'm thinking of somebody else. Tullio Gritti is in charge of Atalanta. I don't know. Christian Pulisic, he's still incredibly important to what Milan does. We know that they've not the level that they've been at has been not good enough to be a challenger for the league. Rob, I mean that's the truth. They're in seventh place, right? They can maybe close the gap a little bit. They
They
still
can
have
close it to 6 with
they
Atalanta in second.
they can right. They can close it to 6. Yeah. I mean it is it is interesting. It'll be interesting to see how they get along today against a very good team and what kind of approach Fonseca takes to this and what kind of lineup he rolls out there because they don't, Reinders has been in great form. They don't really have. I don't know that you would put Morata as a dangerous player week in and week out. He can pop up. We know he's decent, but he's not the level that they need to win a Scudetto, obviously, or even a challenge for a Champions League spot. I'm maybe more interested to see if Yunus Musa gets a start today against Atalanta because Fonseca's turned to him a number of times recently.
Looking ahead to tomorrow, Geo watch. Dortmund takes on Gladbach. Do you think that we're going to see him? I feel like it's almost like a celebrity cameo at this point sometimes.
Yeah, by the way, am I missing something? I got so confused. You're doing the things live and you're trying to read stuff and you're like, wait a second. Gasparini is the manager of Atalanta. I know that, but what's going on with Gasparini? Can we figure out what that about? Maybe I missed something with the Italian manager there at Atalanta, and what's going on with him. Anyway, just second guessing myself, and then realizing it says Tullio Gritti over on FOTMob, but I'm not sure why Gasparini would not be listed as the manager for Atalanta.
According to my detailed research on the Googles, Gasparini's still the coach.
No, is he suspended? Is that what's going on here? Something like that? I mean, again, okay, this is neither here nor there for what we're talking about for today with Milan. They're still going to have a very tough challenge against Atalanta, regardless of who's walking the sidelines for that club. All right, what were you talking about? What was the other thing that you just mentioned here?
I was considering, or I was bringing up a Geo watch and how seeing an appearance from the Mercurial American is kind of like a celebrity cameo in your favorite show.
Yeah, this is interesting. I know we said we weren't going to take the bait here, and I will not make it about this question. But there are people out there arguing that Gio Reyna needs to leave Dortmund, perhaps in the winter, in order to find a place where he can get playing time. And, as an American, it's pretty natural to imagine that he might find some joy playing time-wise in Major League Soccer. I want to believe. That's where I'm at right now with Gio Reyna. I'm not on the it's terrible, it's never going to work out, Dortmund's a lost cause, get him out of there, it's a disaster, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not there yet, right? I think Dortmund is still a good place to grow as a player. I think Şahin is learning a lot as a manager right now, and that does leave me a little bit concerned. But I still think Dortmund is a good place for a player like Gio to be if he is not 100% fit and healthy and as he works back. And we know he's come back and he's ready. He's been on the bench. He's played a couple minutes here or there. But I can't say that I think it's going to be great. I can't say I have 100% faith that Gio Reyna is suddenly going to break his way into this lineup for Nuri Şahin, who is under some pressure because of where they are in the table. 5th place Dortmund. They are 9 points, 10 points off the pace with Bayern Munich leading the way. Obviously, you want to get into, there's always the chance of the coefficient going your way if the Bundesliga. There is obviously Europa League, but if you're Dortmund, Champions League is the way of the world. You got to be in that top 4. So they've got to push for that with Eintracht Frankfurt, Bayer Leverkusen, and Leipzig ahead of them. And I think everybody would say that those clubs right now are better teams, better run teams, better organized teams in terms of their ideas from week to week. So I don't know. That leaves me a little bit concerned about Gio's place at Dortmund, but I don't know if I'm saying, hey, get out of there right now.
For context, Gio Reyna, only 4 appearances in the season thus far with no goal contributions for different reasons. His appearance tallies kind of mirror Tyler Adams hasn't really stacked a lot of appearances since the 22-23 season. Since then, he had 14 for Dortmund in 23-24, 10 for Forest, and then just the 4 this season.
This is the thing. Like, when Gio has been healthy, which has not been consistent enough for us to even judge whether he is good enough to play at Dortmund, right? Like, if he was healthy and on the bench and on the bench and on the bench and not playing and not playing and not playing, then it would come to a place of get out of there, Gio. Get out of there, right? But I don't know that I can say that yet because he hasn't had a consistent run of fitness. Now, again, the loan to Forest was a disaster, and I'm not sure who thought that was a good choice for him.
Agent.
Yeah, well, obviously, and there was a Nuno connection and all this stuff, and it didn't work out. Let's throw up a couple of comments here from our man Nate. Let's go to this one on Gio. Gio has to leave Dortmund. Has he ever been a regular starter? Why would he stay? Why would we say Christian has to leave Chelsea, but Gio should stick it out? Now, I guess that's a fair point, right? We were all clamoring for Christian Pulisic to leave Chelsea when it was clear he wasn't going to get significant playing time. That is a reasonable argument. I guess I just don't know where the place is for Gio, right? The thing about Christian is he had proved it on a big stage. He had done well at Dortmund. He had scored important goals for Chelsea, even if he got left on the bench by a string of managers as they were going through a revolving door. There was always a sense that he could find a soft place to land, and clearly Milan has been that for Christian Pulisic. Tell me where the soft place to land is for Gio Reyna that isn't a massive step down in competitive quality, a la what is being suggested that he moved to Major League Soccer, Rob.
Not a major step down. I think a slight step down, maybe one of the, top third German teams, or maybe, obviously Dortmund is that, but maybe a lateral one, like a Werder Bremen sort of team.
Somebody has to take him. So the thing about Chelsea is that they had so many players. Their squad was so big, and they had so much invested. They had the Todd Boehly thing was happening and all that when they sold Christian Pulisic to Milan at a loss, they didn't want to do that. That's not good business. But when they sold Christian Pulisic to Milan at a loss, it was like, okay, fine, whatever. We're writing off our money on Christian Pulisic. We've got 7, 8, 10 other players in those positions that we want to bring through. Okay. In the case of Dortmund, which does not have Chelsea money, they're going to sell Gio Reyna for pennies on the dollar or whatever. I guess part of it is, how does this mechanism work? He tried the loan. He went to Forest. Is there a better loan situation? Is somebody going to take his wages? Is Dortmund going to pay his wages? Are they still holding on to him? Man, there's just so many questions around Gio in terms of how this happens that he leaves.
Americans abroad, plenty to watch. We'll see if Gio makes it into the lineup tomorrow. Who knows? Let's see. Hopefully he gets that 5th appearance for Dortmund on the season.